Folks, for nearly 2 months, Alan McNish has been the champion-elect in the prototype class of the American Le Mans Series. Only the most bizarre of circumstances could have denied him the title. 2 days ago, that's what we got. He injured his back climbing out of a kilt, his Scottish national dress. His fitness was in question, and once that question mark had just been eradicated, this morning, as we've just so dramatically seen, the car pitched into the wall. Now, the Audi team aren't sure why. They haven't recovered all of the missing components of the car. Some of them are in a storefront downtown. But what they are sure of is that the rebuilt Audi number 77 will be good to go for this race. McNish will start. He has to do 25 laps to claim the title. That should be the end of the drama here.
Gentlemen, start your engines. Each time you go onto the internet, you're unknowingly leaving countless pieces of information in the digital world. A VPN gives you a virtual private network, creating a secure and private connection between your device and the internet. ExpressVPN is one of the best providers. With ExpressVPN, you get the fastest speeds, 24/7 customer support, top-rated user-friendly software, and access to any unlimited content. Australian Netflix doesn't have Lord of the Rings or the latest Breaking Bad series? Fire up ExpressVPN and access over 4,000 movies and TV shows only available on Netflix America. For a limited time, go to expressvpn.com/tumdrum. That's TUMDRUM. And get 3 months free when you sign up for a 12-month plan. ExpressVPN. Safe, secure, and unlimited content.
Hello and welcome to the Motor Racing Passion Podcast. I'm Luke Blackman, and today we've got the final part of our dive into the race of 1,000 years, the international sports car race that took place on New Year's Eve in the year 2000 in Adelaide on the F1 Grand Prix circuit. As usual, I've got my brothers Daniel and Adam with me and my friend Brock, and joining us for the first time on the podcast is Paul Tippins. Welcome to Motor Racing Passion, Paul.
G'day, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Anytime.
Tibbo. It's great to have you,
guys.
Tibbo.
Oh, it's great to be part of the Motor Racing Passion Podcast.
Yeah. Well, you are part of the conception of it. It's based around what we do at the 12 hour, which you're part of.
It is, and I've been listening, yep, and it is really like sitting around the campsite at Bathurst. It's just that I can't put my two bobs worth in.
You can today.
Yeah, I can.
So the race of 1,000 years, you were there in person.
Yeah, well, apparently I was a reporter for motorsport.com.
Your name's
so
on
the lanyard. Yeah, so the lanyard says that I discovered just the other day when I was looking for other bits and pieces. My media pass.
Yeah. How did you end up there?
Bit of a funny story, I guess. But when was it? So it was the end of 2000.
Yep.
The build up to this thing was quite cool, and I guess looking back, it was a race that I didn't want to miss. And I was 23 back in 2000. Being at work I work for Ford Motor Company.
Yep.
Sitting in a cell at work. I guess being 23, I just finished my apprenticeship and everything. I was running a cell back in the day and looking at the internet while things were going on.
Yep.
And you got to remember, I guess back then as well, the internet wasn't what it is today, but it was web pages and motorsport.com
would have been looking it up on 56K.
Well, yeah. I guess back and looking for, I was always reading motorsport stuff on the internet. But yeah, motorsport.com was, I guess, was in its infancy back then. It had only been around for 5 years or so. But they had on their website, they had a little call out. They were looking for somebody to go and report at this race of 1,000 years race. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that.
How
might be a
hard
way
can it
in.
be?
Did you
Yeah,
have
it
any
can be.
experience before this?
Not one bit. I'd just done my apprenticeship as a mechanic, and as a reporter, zero experience.
If the
But
shoe
I thought,
fits,
it might
though.
be a... Sorry?
If the shoe fits, as you as a reporter,
If
you
the
take
shoe
it.
fits, yeah. Well, you'll do anything for a free pass, I guess.
You had the passion for it anyway, so that's half the.
Yeah.
That's half of it.
Well, like I said, I thought it was a race I didn't want to miss.
Did you actually do any like journalistic work, or did you just use the pass for free access and leave after the event?
No, as I will tell you, I did do some reporting. So, going back, I guess how it happened was there was something on motorsport.com, whether it was a little, like a tiny little one-liner, like they're looking for somebody to report. I emailed a fellow called Rainier Ehart, who's a freelance photographer for them, and he basically said, yeah, cool, we'll use you. I'll get your passes and everything and sort all that out. So that was via email, and Rainier's based in Florida, I think it was.
So it was a very comprehensive interview process by the sounds of it. Email a freelance photographer, you're the man, didn't ask for any credentials or anything?
No,
or?
it all just went, yep, cool, let's just do that. He had no idea who I was. I had no idea who he was. But I was close to Adelaide, and he's like, yeah, cool, all right, we'll use you. So I'm like, right, cool, all right. So I specifically remember asking in one of the emails, so do I need to take a computer or a laptop or something? And he emailed back saying, no, I've been in contact with the guys, the organisers of the event. No, there'll be computers and stuff there. So you can kind of see where this is going.
Yeah.
One Commodore 64 in the corner.
Yeah, like and as I said before, so the internet wasn't what it was today back then. So anyway, that was all good, in a pretty good place. Pack my bag, get over there. Oh, I just bought an EB Fairmont as well, EB Falcon Fairmont.
So you
So
drive over?
It was the first drive in that, long distance drive. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Did you just leave on like the Thursday before, or?
From memory, I think I got there Wednesday night, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And actually, it's funny. I stayed at my cousin's place, Ron Inwood's place. So he was a pretty quick TQ midget driver back in the day, like back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And funny enough, not funnily enough, but yeah, he passed away earlier this week.
Oh.
So it's kind of weird that we're talking about this. And old Ronnie's just passed. So anyway, stayed there, get to the track. I think I got to the track on a Thursday just to sort of stuff it all out.
Yeah.
I remember walking in and saw the size of that grandstand. I'd never seen a grandstand like it before.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. But yeah, walked into the media centre and I'm like, right, where's all these computers they talked about? And I said to the guy running the show, like, what? I got told that there was going to be computers and stuff here. And he's like, oh, no, we've got computer connections, but you've got to bring your own computer. And so my heart just sank.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
First big shot.
I'm in a world of hurt here. Looking pretty amateur. Anyway, so what did I have? I had a notepad, had me bits and pieces. I could write stuff down.
Yeah.
Didn't have, and back then, like, your phone didn't have no internet on your phone back then. You could play, like, Snake or stuff on your phone, on your Nokia 60, whatever it was.
Yeah.
3310.
Weirdly, you could only make phone calls on your phone.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? So anyway, started asking around, and I'm like, right, maybe what if I find an internet cafe? Remember them?
Yeah. Vaguely.
I don't think internet cafes exist anymore.
God, I haven't.
They're coffee shops now, aren't they? Free
Probably.
Wi-Fi at a coffee shop.
Possibly, but to actually find an internet cafe, I'm sort of asking locals, like, where's the nearest place I can find some internet? And they're like, oh, there's one over in Rundle Mall. And I'm like, okay. So Pit Lane to Rundle Mall, probably
It's not the close.
Probably a couple of Ks.
Yeah, I was in Adelaide earlier this year for work, and I thought, I'll go for a stroll out there. And yeah, it was a good 40-minute walk from Rundle Mall. Well, maybe not 40 minutes, but the way I took it took 40 minutes. But
I reckon, it was a fair old leg to get to Rundle Mall from Pitt Lane. So I'm like, right, I'll go and stuff out this internet cafe. Found it, that's all good. Had to pay for your half hour or whatever it was.
Yep.
Anyway, so that was kind of like...
Could you charge that back to motorsport.com or out of your pocket?
No, I'm on my own here. Yeah. I'm making it up as I go along. So the practice sessions and the qualifying sessions come around, and I guess I was running around finding me stories, and I'd get it all written down on my notepad. And after every session, so I don't know how many sessions I had, practice sessions.
Yeah.
After each session, I'd leave the media centre and leg it across the park, across to the internet cafe, and then sit there, pay me money, sit there in the internet cafe, write on email what it was I wanted to write down, and send it to this Rainier over in Florida. And I'd do that every session, basically. So I was buggered.
You would have been fit.
Running back and forth. But then he ended up, in the end, I think it was probably on Saturday morning, sometime on Saturday, I got an email from him saying, Paul, you've got to send this in a way that takes me less time to put it up, because he basically had to rewrite everything I put in that email. So I was using like Notepad or something like that, or whatever it was on the internet cafe computer to put me stories across.
Yeah.
And then he would have to rewrite it from his end and put it online. And it was just what a drawn out process.
on that, when you arrived, what was Adelaide, the town itself, like for the event? Like, there's going through it all back in the day, it was well attended across the weekend there, but was there a whole buzz in the town when you were there, when you rocked up?
There was a bit of a buzz. There was lots of signage and stuff like that. Yep. There wasn't a great deal of people there on the Friday, I wouldn't have thought, but as the weekend went on, it grew.
Yep.
And the race itself, I don't think they got the spectator count that they were kind of hoping for, but there was a lot of people there. I think that was, I think they were saying that somewhere around the 70,000. It brought a lot of people in.
Yeah.
And it was, you got to remember, this is the first time these cars have never been to Australia before. We've never seen anything like it.
But I guess looking at like 75,000 people at Adelaide there, like that grandstand, that takes a fair chunk of people, and for up there, and these days you're a bit more spoilt for having grandstands around the track there for the supercars and everything like that. But was there many vantage points on the track around there like it was for when the F1 was back at Adelaide, or was it?
It was exactly the same.
Exactly the same, right? Okay.
It was the same as what the Grand Prix was. You could sit all the way back up, where the little S bend was back to the Jones Straight, was it they used to call it? You could sit on the other side of Jones Straight. And then you came in, they called it Brabham Straight, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brabham Straight, yeah. Or was it Brewery Bend in between them?
Yeah, but you had the whole interior of the circuit. It was free viewing.
Yeah.
And externally as well.
As a big Super Touring fan at the time, the suggestion that Brad Jones could be subbing in for the race got me pretty pumped up. How did that filter out in the media centre and at the track in the Friday, Saturday and leading into the race?
Yeah, well, it was massive. That got everyone holy, look at this. Brad Jones was about to jump in that Audi, so that was huge. And I do remember because Brad qualified the car, because Alan had obviously hurt himself in a quite unusual way, which I thought was a joke at first. I think a few others thought it was a joke as well in the media centre, that he'd hurt his back getting out of a kilt.
Well, we touched on that before. There was 3 different stories floating around. So can you shed any light on the cause, or were there any secrets in the media centre at the time?
I think people were running around trying to get to the bottom of it, going, "Is that for real?" And anyway, that's what we reported on. But I remember when Jones jumped in the car and then qualified it, and he did pretty well actually. I think. I remember people going, "That was a pretty good little effort."
Given he'd never driven it before, so
exactly, yeah. I remember getting that little snippet of story together and thought, I've got to get this back to motorsport.com as quick as I can. So I do remember after that session, after Jones had driven the car, basically running across to the old internet cafe, trying to get the story out as quick as possible.
The people working in the cafe, mate, you must have been on a first name basis with them by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, well, I guess we're running in and out of that internet cafe because you were time limited as well. So
yeah,
and I wasn't very good on a computer with my one-fingered.
Did they give you like a loyalty card where they stamped it every time you came in with the session? You got like a free session at the end?
No, nothing like that.
Waiting for another episode to drop? Tum Drum Media has you covered with a range of podcasts perfect for your daily commute. Why not check out The Curious Audience? Go in pursuit of the unknown with a Yowie hunter. Find out some dirty little secrets from a sex therapist. Or hear the explosive stories of a rock star performing in a battleground. Find The Curious Audience on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
So you've been to a lot of motor races, obviously, Paul. What was it about the Race of 1,000 Years that was different to all the other sort of categories you've seen run over your life?
I guess with the Race of 1,000 Years, it was a full IMSA race. Like, this was the entire grid, basically, from the American Le Mans series. Like, I don't think there was a local car entered.
No.
To be honest.
No, there wasn't.
It was the entire IMSA field. So I think that's what was special about this one. And again, like, in that time, to see those cars in Australia, it's never happened. Well, it hasn't happened again, has it?
No, I was like, I don't think we knew how lucky we were at the time to have that on the doorstep.
No.
And it's the tragedy of the whole thing in the end. Really.
Well, probably the closest was earlier this year, the Asian Le Mans series, like different spec of cars and everything out at Tailem Bend, as they say from out there.
Yeah. But even that was just a regional, the ALMS, the American Le Mans Series in 2000 was basically the World Championship.
Yeah, but speaking to the cars itself, like an LMP2 car out there, the equivalent of what's there now.
Yeah, but when you've got the Le Mans winner,
yeah,
racing in the same year, I think
it'd be like the
phenomenal.
WEC coming out here now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you rattle through some of the names that we hear, like Capello and McNish and Ollie Beretta, Carl Wendlinger. Yeah, Hans Stuck, Jan Magnussen, Boris.
Doc Bundy.
Boris.
Yeah, Boris said.
Yeah, Doc Bundy. I just saw that when I was going through the notes this morning. Milka Juno, she's another one.
Yeah.
And Brabs, obviously. Bill Oberlin.
Yeah.
I mean...
Bob Wolleck.
Yes, Bob Wolleck. The Mammoly Piro, like, man. Randy Potts.
Yeah.
Man, it was, a lot of people that we've never seen. I guess now with the 12 hours, the way it's come along is the closest.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably the 12 hours. Obviously, probably a lot bigger than what this event was now, but internationally.
In person, obviously, you've been to Le Mans 24 hour, you've been to the Nürburgring 24 hour. How was the on-track atmosphere as the lights kind of dimmed on that Sunday night and it got into the late hours of the race?
Yeah, well, the race finished at 10 p.m., I think it was. And they had, in the middle of the parklands, they had, I'm pretty sure it was Powderfinger playing. And there was a few others. So there was a big concert in the middle, and being New Year's Eve as well. I think as the race wore on, a lot more people came in just to see the band, not so much the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was New Year's Eve in Adelaide, so there was a little bit of atmosphere there. But if you put it next to Le Mans and especially the Nürburgring, it can't compare.
Well, Don Penos did say in the lead up to the race, he said it was going to be just like Le Mans, just without us needing to buy the plane ticket.
Yeah, Don had a lot to talk. He had a lot to say during that race week. There was a lot of hype.
Well,
from old Don,
if I refer to Paul Tippins' Saturday afternoon notes from the event, Don Penos claims 170,000 tickets have been sold for the race. Penos sticks by his figures despite it being very high for a race in Australia.
Yeah. He had a press conference. I think it was on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And so everybody was there in the media centre for that. And he was hyping it. Like, he was saying this thing was going to be the next huge race, I guess, on the calendar.
Yeah.
And I think they had a 10-year contract they'd signed with the South Australian government.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure as well.
Yeah.
But Don was saying in that press conference, they were frothing over how many people were going to be there and this and that and how big the event was going to be. But then in part of that press conference, he announced that they were going to build a new Panos car in South Australia.
Called the Adelaide.
Called the Adelaide, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bit of a nod to the Ferrari Daytona and the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, all named after great racetracks.
Yep.
I've never seen a Panos Adelaide, have you?
Yeah, I don't think it ever happened, did it?
No, don't think so.
Design room.
Although it's funny, he said he was going to build it in South Australia, and now 20 years later, his driver David Brabham's building Brabham's in South Australia.
There. Yeah.
Maybe it was a future visionary.
Maybe we can get a Brabham Adelaide.
Actually, that wouldn't be a bad car.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Bad name.
Rocky. You should send that to Brab.
Yeah.
Well, you're the journalist. I mean, you're the big name. You're the one with the access to all these guys. So, I mean, if you think about it, if things been slightly different, you could have been the next Martin Brundle.
Do you think?
I think so.
How was it in the How was it in the media centre?
Yeah, were there any upcoming journalists that you got to work with that are now in the big leagues?
Oh yes, I think like Aaron Noonan might have been in there working for Motorsport News, and I do recall Lee Diffie came and sat next to me. I don't know what day it was, but anyway, it might have been after that press conference. Actually, he was talking with Kelvin Fish, and after that had their chat, Lee was like just standing next to me, and Lee sort of sat next to me. How you going? And I told him all my dramas and how I was dealing with it, and he just looked at me going, "Man, that's awesome." He goes, he's just like, "Mate, don't give up. Don't give up. Just give it your best, and that's all you can do."
Sound like it was a rising conversation.
Oh yeah, I can't exactly remember what he spoke about, but he was really good. Like, I think we sat for maybe 5-10 minutes and chatting about whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sort of gave me a bit of a pump up, like,
Pretty supportive.
yeah, you can do it. It's all good.
Oh, was there a lot of like international people in there, or was it mostly locals, or was it?
There was a lot of internationals, and the media centre was right at the end of pit lane, so I guess it was probably the same as what they used in F1.
Yeah.
It looked over the start line and up pit lane. Had a bit of a balcony, and you could stand out there and watch all the goings on. So remember, I just watched the race telecast back the other day, and I don't remember half those people. I saw Martin Haven was there. I wish I'd met him.
Yeah, he was in the pits for NBC. Actually,
Yeah.
David Addison was on, I think, the radio broadcast as well.
Yeah, right. I guess being like, as I said, 23-year-old, quite naive. I had my blinkers on. I was sort of doing my thing and
Yeah.
trying to make good of a bad situation.
How did you go interviewing drivers and things like that? And
Well, I had a little dictaphone thing, recorder. And I do remember going around. I interviewed McNish, I interviewed Murph and Brabham, possibly a couple of others down pit lane.
Yeah.
How was
And I've still got that sitting at home here somewhere, and I look for it this week and I can't find it because I know I've still got those interviews that I use to write down my bits and pieces.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I've still got them on the tape.
What
I'll have
was
to dig
the
it out.
access like for the drivers, Paul? Was it pretty much just grab them at the back of their garage?
Yeah,
when
was
you
it a
could,
bit more relaxed than a sort of touring car round of the time?
Yeah.
It was yeah. As a normal spectator, you couldn't get in the back of the pits. It was all cordoned off, kind of like an F1 event. But the access that we had, as a media person, full access to the whole pit. And I probably didn't use it as much as I should have. Like I could have got down on the grid and everything, but I think on the Saturday night, my girlfriend at the time flew over, and I picked her up. And then the Sunday, I'd given up. I was knackered.
All those sprints to the internet cafe caught up with you.
Yeah, I'm just like, I've had enough of this. So I think I'm just going to kick back and enjoy the race.
Yeah.
So there was no race report out of me. And I'd never heard from Rainier saying, "Where's the race report?"
Well, I mean, to be fair, there probably wasn't much to report on in that race.
Well, that's it. The race itself was a bit meh, wasn't it? But it was really high attrition.
So would you reattend if they announced it's coming back? Would you go to the effort to reattend?
I would, but I guess taking out of what I did, I wouldn't be a reporter again. I'd just be a punter on the hill and enjoy it for what it was. It would have been awesome. Like, if they did that again and use that whole Grand Prix track, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And this obviously didn't spur you on to a journalistic career?
No. I got my free pass, and I thought, you know what? That just sort of proves to me that you're way out of your depth, and maybe go and do something you can do.
Worthwhile giving it a go as a 23-year-old. I'm just thinking if hypothetically, Sports Car Championship does come back to Australia, Motor Racing Passion can jump in there as legitimate media. So we might get you another crack.
Absolutely.
There, Paul.
We'll bring a laptop too, so no need to leg it to a cafe.
Was there anyone else in your who turned up thinking there'd be a computer there for them?
That's a good question, Luke. I don't know. I presume they were all professionals. The thing you got to remember back then, and I think it's still the case today, is motorsport.com. I don't think they only pay certain staff, so freelancers, that you don't get paid from motorsport.com. Yeah. So that's why I think they struggled finding somebody to go and report on the event, because they're like, well, I'm not getting paid for it, so I'm not reporting to you. So that's why they got me.
You did make a return to motorsport.com at one point as well.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, what was it, 2015, the 12-hour.
Yeah.
I actually can't remember how that came about, whether I emailed Rainier or I think I must have made first contact again. But again, with that, no, you didn't get paid.
No.
But you were expected to upload. I was expected to upload photos to motorsport.com after every session.
Yeah.
And that, again, was a mission in itself. But big kudos to the photographers that do it, because, man, it was, for me, it was reasonably simple process of uploading to the server and stuff like that. But just to get out and have a flow, I guess, to right, this session's on, I want to be here and here and here, and Bathurst being a really big place. Yeah. Trying to get back to the media centre and then upload and go out and do it again, and it's tough. Yeah. I'll tell you what, photographers probably don't get paid enough for what they're doing.
You got to some good You got to some good spots or some good photos though.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That was a really good experience. Yeah. I definitely won't do it again, because it's much more fun sitting with you guys, having a beer and taking it all in. Yeah. But it was just like this Adelaide race, it was a really good experience. Yeah. I got in and saw stuff, met people, like you say, like Bob Wolleck and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, who was
that I just wouldn't have, if I'd just gone and bought a ticket, you'd never gotten into those sorts of places.
Yeah. Who was sort of the the driver or person in the pitch you were sort of most excited to meet or get to meet?
I guess it was probably like McNish. He was an upcoming star.
Yeah.
And quite a nice guy as well.
Yeah.
Like you've sort of known the Murphys and things. And actually, talking to Murphy, he was pretty good. He was pretty cocky.
Yeah.
I remember back then, but he was
Until he put it in the
to
wall.
chat with. Yeah. I guess Bob Wolleck was a highlight because champion bloke, and I think it was only a few months later that he was killed.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's Sebring the next year.
Yeah. So my cousin Alan, he was kind of like, "Oh, can you go get Bob's autograph for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So I ran in the back of the pits and found Bob and got him to autograph Alan's race program and bit of a chat and didn't really think too much of it. And and obviously, that was great. Yeah, a few weeks later, or a couple of months later.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Yeah. So,
I was going to say, so from that now, we're looking 20 years back on it. Adam mentioned, it's flown past. And Adam mentioned, obviously, Talon Bend with the series venturing, or the Asian series venturing down earlier in the year. If top line international sports cars did come back to Australia, do you think, with hindsight now, do you think that could work in 2021? Taking the COVID situation out of it, I guess. Do you reckon there's any learnings from that event 20 years ago?
No, it's going to be like it's different. It's a lot different landscape now, isn't it? Back then, like that was the full power of IMSA for that event. Like the Asian Le Mans series, I don't know how they're organised, but that event was like full IMSA, full. It was. I think there's so much money spent on it to get all those cars here. I don't know that you could do it now, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say,
that scale.
Without the big benefactor in Don Panos, willing to write 10 or 15 million. Yeah, it's like it'd take something. Someone.
And I guess like a question would you use that track again, or would you, if you were to bring? What have we got now in America? We've got the prototypes over there, like the IMSA Championship.
Yeah, it'd have to be a WEC round, I think.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
or if you brought WEC here, what circuit would you use?
Phillip Island.
Do you think?
Oh, I would. I reckon that'd be incredible.
Are they has it got a license to run them? Or?
Well, sorry,
license out of the equation.
Don't fact check me, but I was going to say I'd Phillip Island. I love watching the race back. I mean, the way Adelaide Street Circuit was incredible, but I just don't know the chances of shutting down a city for that again.
Where the F1 track ran, that's all, I think, the light rail system there, so they can't use, so it'll be a bit of infrastructure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was one of the reasons why the supercars couldn't go back and use it post that when they made the changes for it there. But I guess, well, if you look at it, there's only a handful of circuits that you need for an LMP1, LMP2 car to work on. So obviously Bathurst would be cool to see him go around. But I think from S's to the exit of the Dipper might be a bit interesting in an LMP1 car, I think. So I
think Bathurst would be great, but it's way too narrow.
Yeah.
I actually asked Earl Bamber
those kind of vehicles.
I actually asked Earl Bamber that at the last 12 hour, and he said even a GTE car would probably be too fast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, because they were tipping them to run, I think, the LMP3 Cup. They were trying to get that run at Bathurst this year on the Bathurst International, but that's fallen aside for different reasons. But it would have been interesting to see how an LMP3 car would have gone around Bathurst.
I remember they proposed in the late 80s, early 90s, they proposed a Group C sports car race around Bathurst, and they interviewed
that would have been cool.
Tom Walkinshaw and Howard Marsden about it, and both of them pretty much said there wouldn't be a mountain left by the time you made the track safe enough to run them. So that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So even the Bend, I'm not sure it was the right place for that sort of thing either.
Yeah,
long
no,
enough.
it's just like, and this is not being purposely critical, but yeah, it's just a bit bland. If you're
Yeah,
going to
I
get
think
those cars, they get lost.
I think it's definitely a
It must be a-
driver's track, not a spectator's
Yeah.
track.
I agree. I reckon it must be a cool
yeah,
place to drive.
Everyone that's driven there just reckons it's the most awesome thing ever.
Ironically, the world sports cars came in the late 80s.
84 and 88 at Sandown.
Yeah, so I was listening to a podcast the other day with Johnny Dumfries, and he referencing his time in sports cars, and he mentioned that he'd driven at the Sandown then, and he called it one of the worst tracks he'd ever driven on, which I thought was pretty brutal on Sandown.
I think everyone was brutal on the Grand Prix track at Sandown.
Yeah, but in this conversation, I don't think Sandown's getting a look in for any future international sports car.
when the race got canned in 2001 after Adelaide, Sandown put their hand up to host it.
Yeah.
So
Well, there you go. That's maybe Johnny's comments was the death knell from Don's
Resonate.
point of view.
But I guess though, if they did announce a WEC race anywhere here, or even an IMSA race, or we'd all make a plan to go. I think, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Like to see a WEC, like an LMP one in the flesh. Like you've been to Le Mans yourself, Daniel. At Tippo, you've been there yourself. For it there, like I think just seeing one of them up close and personal in our own backyard is just going to be something amazing.
Well, that's what we had, and Tipo was there, and none of us were. So, do you have any memorabilia from the weekend? Any old posters or merch or something like that?
I've got the spectator and map guide and my ticket.
You don't have like a crocodile shirt or anything cool?
No, they didn't.
Part
Didn't
of the
really
car
have any
that was
merch,
crashed.
to tell you the truth.
Oh no!
I
That's a
don't remember
shame.
there being any merch.
Maybe yeah. Okay, that is actually.
There might have been some event stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, because I found
T-shirt.
the website, the Race for 1,000 Years website's been archived, but you can still find it, and you can click on the merch section. There were shirts and a few other things, but you
okay.
can't get them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just that like page holder thing in there. So
Yeah, right.
That is my goal, to find some.
That's the
Race
holy
of
grail.
1,000 Years merch. I'm going to rock up at the 12 hour.
yeah, if any listeners have got any Race for
Yeah.
1,000 Years merch,
Post
send
them
us
up.
through a pic. Yeah,
Brock will buy it.
yeah, you might make some cash.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll have a look. I might actually have a cap somewhere. I'm not sure.
You just send it up
think,
here. Just put it in a bag
yeah.
and send it up.
I think, yeah, I guess going back with this whole thing, one thing I wanted to say was the Panoses, the noise that the Panoses made was something I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
They were so loud. But
Didn't
they were loud.
David Brabham
and-
come out and say that he had to get special earplugs made
Earplugs
up
for it. Yeah.
for it just from
Like,
the noise?
incredible.
Yeah, and he's
But-
actually got hearing damage from
Was
it too
that-
when
was
he was
that
testing
from-
it. Yeah.
yeah.
That one or the Esperanto?
Oh, I think that whole series
Yeah.
of panels. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they were loud until I went to Le Mans in 05 and stood in front, well, before the Porsche curve
Yeah.
in the little, like a rainforesty thing, right beside the Armco, and heard the Corvette coming past and flat out in sixth gear in 05. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Up there with the
Yeah.
Kawasaki Porsche, Paul?
Yeah, I heard your podcast from that event. I was reminiscing about that Porsche, and because I was doing Meditrack for that event, I think we were on for, like, I was sitting in the Meditrack car for 20 of the 24 hours. Oh, sorry, that was for the first year. For the second year, when that Porsche was there, I had a few hours off to go and have a sleep, and
You couldn't get
we
to
were in a
sleep.
school. Yeah, well, we stayed in a school over in what's the suburb across from Bathurst?
Kelso?
Kelso, yeah, we're staying in Kelso. And I was in the dorm there trying to sleep. It was really early in the morning, like maybe 10 a.m., 9 a.m., and that Porsche was going around, and I couldn't sleep, and I could hear it from Kelso. It was so freaking loud.
The Lola
Yeah.
the Lola Judd would have sounded all right too.
That was another point I was going to make. Yeah, one of the favourite cars was that Lola, because there were two Lolas in the event.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, the one that just sort of trubbed, they just drove around and around,
Yeah.
the Conrad Motorsport
Yeah.
Lola, finishing second outright, quite hilarious.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
The Raffinelli car though,
Yeah.
Olive Garden, yeah.
yeah, with the Judd V10, that was pretty special. And that was spitting flames and all sorts of things.
Do you remember much of the support categories that weekend? I know the sports sedans were there and a few others.
No, I don't remember any of it. I actually looked that up this morning going, what were the sport categories? I can't remember any of it.
Well, to surprise
they had motorbike stunt riders, and that's all I can remember.
Well, Tony Ricciardello won the sports sedan race, so
I was sports sedan. Okay.
Yep. It was a VW Beetle Pro M race. Do you remember that?
Oh, really?
Was that?
You don't know. That's while he was running the Internet Cafe. That's why he doesn't know the sport categories.
Was it the New Age V Dubs with the French penny on the dash?
It was
those ones.
It was the new Beetle.
Yeah,
the new Beetle.
would have been.
Imagine a V Dub Fun Cup cars running around field and the ones that run at Nürburgring. That would be interesting.
Well, thanks very much for coming on, Paul, and sharing your memories of the race.
That's all right, Luke. No dramas at all, mate.
Yeah. Will you come back again?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
All right. So that wraps up our podcast on the race of 1,000 years. I think the general consensus is that if they ran another one like it, we'd all go.
And it would probably be destined to fail, but we'd all be there anyway.
we would. Well, it'd be just like the Super Touring Bathurst and the Bathurst 24-hour race with that. We seem to all like events that
it would
that
be
don't last very
completely
long.
unsustainable,
but let's just do it anyway.
Absolutely.
Because it's cool.
Sounds good.
Once the borders are open.
Exactly. All right. On behalf of Daniel, Brock, Adam, and Paul, I'm Luke Blackman, and thank you for listening. And we'll be back with a new episode soon.